Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. So this is the third part of our internship series. If you have joined us in the past two internship series, you know that we have, as an INVEST program, an internship guide that is appropriate for anybody who works within an agency or a company to help kind of walk you through what having an intern or internships looks like. But the best way to really kind of understand what's happening with internships is talking to experts, people who actually work with interns on a daily basis or who have and are using it and see that it is an amazing pathway into either your agency or your company. So today we're going to start talking about I hired an intern. Now what do I do? And with us today, we have three fabulous women, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. Sam?
I'm Samantha Snyder. I am from Jackson, Michigan. I'm currently working at Abbott and Fillmore Agency in Stockbridge, Michigan, and I am an account manager assistant there. I started as an intern.
Good morning. I'm Chris Timmerman. I'm the Senior Manager of Talent Outreach and Student Programs at WSIA, which is the Wholesale and Specialty Insurance Association. I spent about 21 years in different positions in colleges in Chicago and San Antonio, Houston, and Kansas City before I started with WSIA and doing their internship programs, scholarships, other student programs, but I'll focus today on our internship program with 44 college students.
Good morning. I'm Barbara Walker from Heartland Insurance Agency in Michigan. I am the Vice President of Heartland Insurance, and I just finished as the President of our state association. Been in insurance many years, and I have been involved with the INVEST program for over 20 years, but I've also had interns in our agency probably for over 20 years. So it's wonderful to be with all of you.
Well, thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And Sam, you left out the fact that you are a INVEST alum.
Yeah, also an investment alum. Whoops.
Had the INVEST program in her school, and that kind of just provided her a whole new way of looking at insurance as a career. So that being said, with insurance as a career, a lot of students are not looking at insurance as a whole. They aren't thinking about insurance as a whole, but getting experts in front of them to talk to them about insurance is really how the interest starts, right? And then hopefully from that, we're able to correlate and then move them into an internship. So where we are kind of in this series is talking about, okay, so we have an intern now. Well, now we have interns. What do we do with them? What does that look like? Because a lot of times, when we talk about internships, people get a little nervous about it. They're not sure what to do with it. What does a successful internship look like for you? And I do know, and I will say, and Sam, you can pop in whenever. Mentorship is a big part of a successful internship. So what does that look like for all of you?
I'm willing to start. I think that for us, the successful internship is about not only being successful for our agency, but also for the intern. And a lot of times there are, I'm going to talk from the agency side because that's where I sit. Agents just don't know what to do with an intern once they've hired them. And so they have all these questions, and I get emails and texts. Okay, I did this. What do you think about this? Just so that you have people to talk to. So I think that's another thing that's really important. You've got the intern in there, but you need to be able to connect with another agency or company that's using an internship program so that you can bounce ideas off and ask questions about what works for them and what's working for you.
Mm-hmm. And I'll follow up with that, Barbara, too. So we have 44 interns that we place in the summer with all of our different WSI member firms, but they also get assigned mentor who is not one of their host supervisors. And the purpose of that too is so that they have a third-party resource that they can really use to talk about what they're learning on the job, as well as these mentors help them with networking or with just advice about careers and, what roles they could possibly play in the future. So I've had great feedback from our interns about that mentor experience. And sometimes it seems like it's just an offshoot of the internship program, but we have found it's really a vital part of the program, that interns can really use them as resources.
Mm-hmm.
And coming from an intern themselves, basically make sure you're asking questions and continuing growing. Don't sit there and be stagnant, and really ask the questions if you have them. Don't be scared to ask them.
Yeah, I think you have a lot to add. I think you are a vital part of the mentorship is that, the questions go both ways. And so
Right.
that's really important. So I'm glad you brought that up. And I think for us, success has included having interns participate in a variety of tasks and a variety of experiences. So we like to make sure that our interns attend chamber events or attend conventions or attend classes so they can see the whole rounded picture of what the job entails. We like to make sure that we keep weekly, we talk to them, just like, the mentorship is huge, but weekly we make sure that they're getting something out of what's happening so that they can ask the questions.
Mm-hmm. Which I think is really, really important is the fact that we talk about it needs to be a two-way street, both for, who the mentor is and the internship, or the intern, excuse me. But when we're talking about that mentorship piece, like what would you say? And I know it's really kind of hard to narrow it down to one specific thing. However, what do you think maybe the most critical action is for a mentor to really kind of ensure that the mentorship relationship is generally, both beneficial?
I would say that from the very beginning, that initial conversation with the intern is important, right? To really try to understand the student, where they are, where they'd like to go, what some of their expectations are for that mentorship relationship. I think sometimes students don't understand what that can be. And so the mentor needs to make sure that the intern knows these are all the different things I can help you with. It can be, again, about networking. It can be about specific things about the job. It can be about just helping them with soft skills to enter the industry or interviewing, that type of thing. So I think that's important, that very first initial connection with their mentor, to understand both what both sides, the mentor and the intern, can provide for the other one.
I totally agree with that. And because if you don't have that connection, you're not going to be able to provide the mentorship that they need. And the third party is the biggest help because the mentor is someone outside of the direct relationship that the intern has. So that way, the mentor should have conversations, not necessarily mentoring conversations with the person that's in charge of the intern, so that they can all be on the same page and help one another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Sam, what do you think, kind of based upon your experience and what you've kind of worked through, what would your takeaway be?
Really, again, make yourself being comfortable, being uncomfortable, asking the questions. That's the biggest part from me. If you are sitting there and you don't know what you want or what you're trying to accomplish, at the end of the day, it doesn't help you. So you need to basically put yourself out there at that point and make sure the person that wants to help you is understanding where you're trying to get.
That's a
That's a
good
good
point,
point.
because if you don't know what they have in their mind and what they really want this internship to be, and you don't ask the question, you're going to be going down the wrong path.
It completely starts a disconnect, and then you're like, okay, I'm trying to take you over here, and then your mentor or whoever is going the other way. So yeah.
I think it needs to be said too, like we hope that the mentor, right, is somebody who likes to teach as well and who is open to, the questions that an intern may have. Because to your point, Barb, like the intern doesn't know what they're walking into.
Right.
And this is a whole new experience. So we want to have a mentor who is probably, a little patient and is, some things that come very easily to us because it's something that we do every day is not something an intern is used to. So it's getting them exposed to all of those different areas within the agency and within the company, and developing that relationship, I think, is really important. So yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I was just going to say, when you were talking, it made me think about, we have some seasoned, experienced mentors who have volunteered to mentor the mentors, right? The new mentors, to try to give them some ideas about what being a good mentor is all about, some of the types of things or strategies that they've done. So I appreciate that too, about we've created a little guide for mentors about how they can be an effective mentor.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Great. That's great, because the internship guide is great, and sometimes that mentor needs some help. So that's a great idea, Chris.
Yeah, I love that. Sam, I know you probably have been like in a space where you thought, okay, well, I wish maybe somebody would have said this about this.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, coming into the agency, it was straight out of high school. So it was more or less kind of jump in, be thrown to the sharks, figure out what you're going to do. So really, if you don't understand it, it makes it difficult.
Now, Sam, this is a separate question, but I think because of the fact you came directly out of high school, should people be afraid about, looking at a high school graduate, somebody who's coming straight out of high school into an internship?
I experienced that, and I honestly don't think you should be. If they're ready and they're up for the job, I mean, why diss them? That's somebody that could have a long position at your agency. So I mean, if you support them, likely they'll get back to you as well.
Yep. It is about the support, right?
Yeah.
Now, Chris, I think you're going to say something.
Well, I was
to.
thinking too, like that our program was traditionally for juniors and seniors who are risk management and insurance majors. And then about 3 years ago, we started a separate track for students who are as young as their first semester of college. They are applying right now. We're making some decisions this week about our internship program. But it is the concept of growing your own, that students as young as freshmen may not be thinking about the insurance industry, but if they have this amazing experience after their freshman year, then we might have sold them right on the industry, and that they can continue to have other internships as sophomores, juniors, seniors, so that they will enter the industry. So I know that college faculty have talked to us about, please do more things for freshmen and sophomores, because we have a lot going on for juniors and seniors already. But we'd really like to invest in the younger students. Again, the whole idea of growing your own and trying to capture them younger and keep them before they graduate.
And to jump onto that.
Perfect point. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, and to jump onto that, when I actually started the program, I was a junior in high school. So at that point, it really helped me figure out where I wanted to go. So the first year of the program, I didn't even realize it was an insurance program. 2 weeks in, we started talking about insurance, and I was like, okay, this is cool. All right. Next year, I was still debating on if I wanted to do it. And I ended up getting placed where I am today. And I think I want to stick with it. So I definitely, the younger you are trying to figure out where you want to go, the Invest program definitely helped me personally with that.
And I think that there's so much opportunity. They have to have a job, most of them, or something for what they're doing. And why not bring them right in right away to make those decisions, and give them the opportunity? That's how we're going to have more people interested in our industry. If we don't get them right away, somebody else will.
Yep.
And so it's important that we encourage them to get into the field, figure out what it's all about, and then give them the education and all the opportunities so that they can say, hey, I think I might like this industry.
And kind of to top off of that too, with Barbara, actually at her agency, I had a mentor from there. It was Joanna. So again, I was really questioning it about every week. She goes, so what do you want to do? What are you thinking? And turn it into something other than insurance. Well, finally, senior year, it turned into insurance. So here I am.
See, makes all the difference.
Yeah.
Definitely does. So when you have an intern and you're working with them, you need to do periodic kind of evaluations. So what does that basically look like for each of you? Because you want to be able to have a conversation with the intern to kind of let them know, how you see, their path, their successes, maybe some of their challenges or struggles, and then be able to get feedback as well from those interns. So what does that look like for everybody?
Well, it's interesting because we have our own feedback and our own evaluation form, but the schools, depending upon where, if from the high school side, they send us actual forms to complete. How's the intern doing? What is it they're doing? With many boxes to check, have they done
Mhm.
this, that, and the other thing? And then the colleges are the same way. So the colleges where we had interns, they also send evaluations on a weekly basis. They want you to tell them what they did that week. And I think it keeps you focused, and it also gives you a great outline of, oh, we didn't hit that yet. We should hit that.
I would say too, go along with that, Barbara, that a lot of our hosts will do weekly check-ins with our interns on like every Friday. And part
Right.
of it is also just trying to help them as hosts figure out what are they doing right, what could they adjust because they have them all summer long, or there's some things that they can do to improve what they're providing for the intern. But I love that idea of just having a weekly check-in for both. So they can both learn from each other. And then we have our hosts that do the end of internship evaluation too. And some of that is based on just what was their attitude, their interest in the industry, what's their potential for future success. But I think that, the weekly is important. You don't want to get to the end and realize that something was off and they could have done something to improve or correct the experience for the students. But yes, I agree too that there are students that are getting college academic credit for their
Right.
internship, and they have their own evaluation form as well.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot, even the school gives credits, the high schools give credit.
Mhm.
So it's, but it also, it's the same thing. It's two-way. That gives the intern a chance to say, hey, I wish I was doing this, or is there a way I can do this? I might be interested. And, for instance, we had an intern that really wanted to go into the actuarial side. So we made a connection with one of our carriers and said, can they come up and do a shadow day with you to see what it's like on the actuarial side, or we really want to be, I really think I'd like claims, or I really think, so I think it's a great thing to have a relationship on, the carrier side for us, so that we do intern swaps. So.
Mhm.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. Intern swaps is a great idea.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That really gives them the ability to try different things in different areas. So that's
Right.
great. Yeah, yeah. Sam, what are your thoughts on that?
It's a two-way transaction. So you have your mentor and you have you. If you're not, again, saying what you want to learn, or if you're not understanding something that's coming from your mentor, you need to relay that information to them. Or if you want to learn more, relay that to them. They can help you. That's what they're there for. They're your mentor. So that's kind of, the weekly check-in is ideal, obviously. But if it can't happen, keep bugging them. Be like, hey, I need to talk to you, or like that sort of thing. So that's more or less how I feel about it. I think the more in contact with them you are, the better you are off.
So can you think of, like, let's say an intern is kind of struggling with, in a particular area. Is there any one, or can you think of one high impact kind of assignment that you could recommend possibly to that immediately would help that intern in that area?
Self-based research is a great thing, but if you can't do that and you need help, go to that specific person that does that. If you need help in a commercial area, go to your person who talks about commercial lines, or if it's an auto policy, go to the person you feel comfortable with talking about that. That's mainly if your mentor is not busy, that sort of thing.
And I think that there's a lot of education now online that we
Mhm.
depend on, but that's not always the best way.
Nope.
Everyone does not learn um, sitting in front of a screen 8 hours a day, learning commercial property.
Exactly.
It's you've got to have other avenues of education, not just online.
And that's when, having the connections through your agency or whoever, you can message them and be like, hey, what is this? How do I do this? Especially if you don't know and you need it right then and there. So it helps.
I think it's helpful too to have the interns that are shadowing different levels of professionals, like young professionals, where they can see themselves in that role, but that they might feel more comfortable asking those questions. And then, all the way up to executive. I know that our interns love to have some time with leadership and executives so they can see kind of the big picture of what they're learning, or their company's, culture, values, that type of thing. But I do think just being able to feel comfortable asking questions of professionals that are doing the job is really important.
So we kind of, when we have talked before and, talked about internships, but I think it's an important thing to really sort of talk about every time we do talk about internships is about making it fun.
Mm-hmm.
So is there any particular thing that you do within your company or agency that it's just a fun thing to do and it kind of helps to develop that, camaraderie, that mentorship, and that culture, right?
I would say that one of the things that a lot of our hosts do, they take them to some amazing events sometimes. Like if we have them in New York, they're going to a Yankees game or something like that. Or it can be simple, networking events. But some of them tell me that they get to go to some pretty, amazing things. But there's also some that participate in volunteer efforts, for each company, and that seems to be very important to the young generation of students, that giving back and community involvement. And there are a lot of fun things that they do with that, with regard to that. I think that some of the students like just being part of lunch and learns, with other young professionals or those that are new hires. Yeah, those are some of the things I'm thinking of, but I'll let Barbara or Samantha.
Yeah, I feel exactly the same way. So our interns participate in our United Way Day of Caring. They're right there with our team doing the same work together, and that's a nice bonding experience for everybody. We also and they all love that, supporting the community and understanding that's part of our culture. I also can say, the chamber events are wonderful, the ball games. We do things in our office just to, sometimes we have to ease the pressure of just life in general. And so we do bucket golf and we do tournaments and we just have fun. With things that we do on a regular basis, because people are here a majority of their day and it has to be enjoyable or you're not going to like your job. And so if the intern sees that the people that work here like their job, and like what they're doing, and they like the people they're doing it with.
Yep. Yep.
Yep. To add on to that, at my office, typically we have a local bowling alley. So we'll all go down there and then we'll all start bowling, have a good time down there. We go to a convention every year. It's based by one of our carriers. So we'll stay there for the week. It's really fun and definitely keeps you here.
Well, that's kind of the point, is because, students or anybody who is not familiar with the insurance industry, the perception is that insurance is boring.
Yeah.
So, they don't realize how much fun that everybody is actually having within their jobs and the people that they're working with. And they get to, it's not necessarily behind a desk from 9 to 5. And
Right.
you're not selling insurance every single solitary day.
I
That's
think
not
I
what
can
this
tell you
is.
that's what a lot of people's impression is. And then it's like when you start to tell them, they're like, oh, okay. So it's starting to build a different reputation, I think, slowly.
We just have to keep at it.
I think one of the takeaways that our interns have is that it's a relationship industry, right? You hear that all the time, but that point is really comes to life throughout the whole experience, that they see that their brokers and underwriters know so many different people wherever they go, right? Barbara, you're shaking your head.
That's amazing sometimes, to our interns that, oh, so many people. I said, well, we've been involved and it really is enjoyable to be around those people. We've met people in every state, so it's nice.
Well, in closing, because we could sit here and talk about this for quite a while, but I'm trying to be mindful of everybody's time. What is your last piece of advice for having an intern, and now you've hired one, and what does that look like?
My last piece of advice is make them part of your team, and they will enjoy their experience immensely as long as you include them immediately as part of your team. Don't make them feel like they're somebody that's only here a short period of time. Include them in everything you do. Include them in and letting them give you feedback, and the experience should go marvelous.
Yeah, and I'll tag on to that too, Barbara, that in listening to all the interns' feedback over the years about what they really would like to see, the first thing is for the host to talk to them about what their interests are, that they can't always incorporate everything into the internship experience that the interns want, but find out first what they're interested in, and then all of them talk about they love to just shadow so they can really understand the roles that are being played, rotational, so that they can see different departments and how everybody kind of comes into play. And I would say the last thing is they all like to have some type of project that they're working towards, so that, and there's some hands-on work to that as well, right? So it's not just small tasks, but something that by the end of the internship they can say, here's what I did for you.
And I think from like the internship standpoint, being the intern, build the connections just like you guys were talking about. And at that point, if you have connections elsewhere, you can ask people different things, figure out where you want to go. If you want to stay at agency side, if you want to go to a carrier, wherever you want to go. So really build the connections, learn as much as you can, and just make yourself being comfortable while you're being uncomfortable. So.
Very good.
I love it. That's perfect advice. Thank you all. I really appreciate your time and your expertise. I think what we have talked about today will hopefully inspire some people to be, look at that internship piece and say, you know what, this is something that I can do within our agency or in our company. And for those of you watching today, if you've enjoyed this particular part of the series, our last part of the series will be coming in December, and that is going to be the risks, and rewards, or the ups and downs of internships. And that will be a panel of interns who have lived and walked it, and we can talk about that and explore that a little bit more. But Barbara, Chris, and Sam, thank you so much for your time today. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy to be part.
Thank you.